The following interview offers insights on Mexico's #2 ranking worldwide in the recent Internations global study on the best countries for expats to live. We speak with Kathrin Chudoba, who is Internations Head of Content and Communications. Well, today we have the great pleasure of speaking with Kathrin Chudoba, who is the Head of Content and Communications for the global giant Internations, which is the largest global community for expats. And Kathrin is going to speak to us today about a brand new survey, some of the results of the Expat Insider 2021 survey that Internations just concluded not too long ago. So Kathrin, why don't we kick things off by having you tell us a little bit about what the Expat Insider 2021 survey is, how long you've been doing it, how did you do it, and who do you talk to?
Sure. So thanks for having me, first of all. It's great talking to you today. And yeah, let me tell you a bit about the Expat Insider survey. It's one of the biggest surveys on living and working abroad worldwide. And this year it's published for the 7th time. It provides information on various aspects of expat life, as well as some demographic data. And yeah, so the way it works is that survey participants rate up to 37 different aspects of life abroad, and they rate them on a scale of 1 to 7. We ask respondents about their personal satisfaction with these aspects, and that we consider both emotional topics, like, for example, finding friends, and also more factual aspects like career opportunities, and we consider them with equal weight. And our respondents are, of course, a lot of them are Internations members, part of our community all around the world. This year, 12,420 expats took part and representing 174 different nationalities. So it's a really diverse group of people. But the survey is also open, like if you want to, share it with your friends who are not Internations members, but expats, they can of course participate, and people do. So it's not exclusively Internations members. And yeah, I mean, in Mexico, for example, this year we had 230 respondents, I think, thereabouts. And in general, we require a sample size of at least 50 respondents per country. And with this in mind, this year we 59 countries or territories qualified for the ranking.
What are the key reasons Mexico ranked second in your 2021 survey? They seem to be a perennial top 5 country.
They are indeed. And yeah, with this second place overall, Mexico performs really well this year. And that's especially when it comes to the ease of settling in and the financial aspects of living in Mexico. And I can give you more details on these really good results later on. There are, however, 2 areas where Mexico doesn't perform that well, and that's maybe the reason why it's not on place 1, who knows. But for example, we have the Working Abroad Index, where Mexico only places 22nd this year, and then there's also some weaker results in for example, regarding safety and security, which is one of the reasons why, one of the areas where Taiwan ranks really high. So just, for comparison's sake. But generally, the good ranking is mainly due to the ease of settling in and the financial aspects.
And Mexico, since you started doing this survey, has always been in the top 5, and I think in recent years it's always been in the top 3. So it's actually quite remarkable when you think about it that Mexico is number 2 in terms of expat choice of a great place to live, when you take into account the personal security issues, which we know exist in Mexico, as well as lots of countries in Latin America. What does settling in mean? Could you explain what settling in means, what kind of what the question is, and just describe it.
Yeah, exactly. So we have different indices in the survey, and one of them is the ease of settling in index, and that index is based on 4 subcategories, and one of them is feeling at home. Then we have finding friends, we have friendliness, and we have the language subcategory. And Mexico actually places first for both feeling at home and for finding friends. And that what that means in detail is because in all these subcategories there are various single factors that make up that ranking. So in more detail, this means that expats in Mexico find it especially easy to get used to the local culture. They feel very much at home in Mexican culture. They find it easy to get settled in Mexico and to make friends. And that's both in general and also particularly with the local population, which is perceived as being very welcoming. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I just feel, like me moving abroad can of course be very stressful. There are negative factors. If the local population is perceived as unfriendly, or if you're experiencing culture shock, that can make the experience even more stressful, and it's really easy to underestimate these factors. And that's that's something that I think only researching the hard facts about a country before you move there probably won't tell you. So as someone who has lived abroad themselves for many years, I feel that it's really important information to also talk about these things. How easy is it to settle down, to feel welcome, to feel at home there? Because I also know how much it can affect your well-being abroad. But I mean, for expats in Mexico, luckily that doesn't seem to be an issue at all. So they settle in really easily, and that's mainly due to the friendly population.
Well, we do a Expats in Mexico survey every January, and we have done so for the past 4 years. And what we find is that always the number one reason why people are either considering or planning and then actually make a move to Mexico and become expats is because the people are so darn friendly.
No.
I mean, it's a very welcoming society here, and they really make you feel home once you arrive. Talking about that, actually, I wanted to talk a little bit about another ranking you had, and it was Mexico ranks number 1 for personal happiness. How is that measured?
Yeah, that's it's a good question. So in the survey itself, it's measured. We have the personal happiness subcategory is measured by 2 single factors. So that one of them is how happy expats are in general with their life. So again, it's a rating question, and here 89% of expats in Mexico say they're happy, and that's compared to a global result of 75%. So there's a big difference. And then there's a second part to that, which is also how happy they are in their relationships with people, with their partner, with spouse. But of course that only applies if you have a partner, or if you don't have to answer that question if it doesn't apply to you. So that's how this question is, the rating is made up. But of course, there are so many external factors that play into personal happiness, which we haven't observed. Like we have not examined it in terms of, is there a statistical correlation between the personal happiness ranking and other factors that are rated really highly, for example, job satisfaction or happiness with the local weather, the climate, the leisure options. All these things make me happy if I'm happy with them, but that's not part of the actual rating question. But,
well, I'm very happy, and most of the people around me are very happy, so it is a happy country.
Exactly. Anecdotal evidence counts as well.
Exactly. So Mexico was number 2 worldwide in personal finance. That was your measurement. What does that mean, and why is it important to expats?
Yeah, so also the personal finance index, yeah, you're right, that's also plays a role in the overall ranking, and this one as well is based on two different factors, and one is if expats are satisfied with their financial situations, and the other one is if expats are satisfied with their disposable household income. So basically what we're asking is whether the disposable household income is enough or more than enough to cover all living expenses. And here there's also astonishing 90% of expats in Mexico say that it is, and that's again compared to a global average of only 77%. And also an interesting fact maybe is that we had 8% of expats who gave who said financial reasons were their main motivation for moving to Mexico. And that's again compared to only 3% who said that globally. But yeah, I mean, another 39% of expats actually relocate to Mexico for lifestyle reasons, as we summarize them. This includes, better quality of life, or maybe, in order to retire in Mexico. And there, of course, it plays a role that the personal financial situation is perceived as so good, because if you're not moving for like a really high paid job or something, then of course the fact that you can get by on your household income, it plays a big role. And I think that helps you, of course, improve your quality of life and have the lifestyle you want.
Sure, it does. It's amazing.
Yeah.
In all the surveys we've done, also, even though Mexico is recognized as a very inexpensive place to live for expats, the motivation of moving to Mexico isn't really the cost of living, even though it plays an important factor.
Yeah.
It's really all about lifestyle and adventure and the wonderful people down here and the great climate and all of those things.
Exactly.
But it's nice to know, though, that many retirees come here and live on their Social Security income.
Yeah, exactly.
So it is a very cost-effective place to live in. You can really live in very nice areas and with very nice housing for a very limited amount of money. Puerto Vallarta, where I live, for example, is an international resort community, and it's a very attractive community and very much in demand. But you can still easily live here on, say, $2,500 to $3,000 a month as an expat, and have a very nice lifestyle and a very nice house, and actually even close to the beach.
That sounds perfect.
Come on down. Kathrin, would you say that Mexico would be a perennial number one each year if it wasn't for its ranking on personal security?
Yeah, so we cannot say that for sure, of course, because there are various factors also in the quality of life index where the personal security is a part of that. There are various other factors where Mexico doesn't perform like massively above average. One of them is public transportation, infrastructure, the local air quality, and also in terms of digital infrastructure, the ratings aren't all that positive. But you're right, the safety and security subcategory is indeed the weakest point, so to say. But I cannot say whether we haven't done the calculation whether if we take that out, whether Mexico would be.
But the other points you made are very good points. Infrastructure could certainly need some improvement in Mexico, and clearly in the cities we have actually quite good internet connection. The Wi-Fi situation in most of the major cities and expat centers is generally fairly good and very reasonable in price. For example, here where I live in Puerto Vallarta, you can get 100 megabits per second connection for about $30 a month US. So it's generally very consistent. You don't always get 100, of course. That's just the way the internet works, but it actually isn't too bad.
Yeah, I mean, and also let me tell you, I think Germany probably ranks even worse.
Lower. I thought Germany was supposed to be high tech.
Yes, but not if you live in the countryside.
Right.
So,
Yeah, exactly.
in terms of digital infrastructure, we're not that advanced.
Yeah. So, Kathrin, if you could sum up in one sentence why Mexico is such an expat magnet, what would you say?
Yeah, for that, I looked up a quote for you, so I would like to answer that in the words of one of our survey participants, who I think sums it up perfectly. It's an expat from Canada, and he or she says, "It's the history, the cultural diversity, the friendly Mexican people, and the low cost of living." And I think that's a pretty nice summary of what we see in the survey results, and also what we see from the comments of the survey participants. And it seems to be what you confirm as well.
Exactly. You know, the bottom line is that there are lots of great reasons to move to Mexico. So, Kathrin, listen, thank you so much for your time today. It was a very enjoyable conversation, and if you, we will be doing an article actually on the 2021 survey, the Expat Insider 21 survey that you just completed. So everyone will get a little bit more detail in the article also. So thank you so much.
Right.
And Kathrin, have a great day.
You too. Thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to the article.
Okay. Thanks, Kathrin.